So I most sincerely welcome you to the first ever press briefing to introduce you to the Pharmaceutical Wholesalers and Distributors Association of Nigeria, PWDAN for short. Our gathering here today is to intimate you of the aims and objectives of our association and for dissemination to the general public. As we recall history of pharmacy practice in Nigeria, started majorly through distribution and wholesaling, which began in the pre-independence era and was operated by dispensers in what was called drug houses. This was as a result of the shortage of professionals, and so persons with little knowledge of drugs were given license to handle and operate medicine shop to fill the gap. With time, the merchandising aspect of the profession became more prominent than the practice and saw the adaptation and allowance provided for non-professionals in the handling and distribution of drugs and medical devices. It is a common knowledge that one greatest challenge in the practice of pharmacy since independence has been the disbursement of a systematic drug distribution channel. And this has over time has resulted in the unending chaotic drug distribution characterized by handling of medicine by non-professionals, circulation of fake and adulterated products, poor storage conditions, treatment failures, poor health outcomes, among others. In addition, the lack of political will on the part of government has remained unchanged amidst the development and best practices required by the World Health Organization. Wholesale and distribution as positioned in the National Drug Distribution Guidelines, NDD, is very critical to ensuring an effective and efficient delivery between the manufacturer, and the patient. We therefore seize this opportunity to call on the regulatory agencies for a partnership that will boost transport services and ultimately improve healthcare delivery. It is important to mention that with the increasing number of pharmacies in the country, the career path is evolved to professionalize pharmaceutical wholesale and distribution as recognized. About 3 years ago, a group of like-minded pharmacists, burdened by the wholesome state of drug distribution in the country, came together to challenge the system. And in contributing to the sanitizing and strengthening the pharmaceutical supply chain, they promoted this association called Pharmaceutical Wholesalers and Distributors Association of Nigeria, now duly registered with the Public Affairs Commission, with main aim and objective to foster and promote best practices in the pharmaceutical supply chain and contribute in the advancement of supply chain integrity in pharmaceutical practice in all its ramifications. This we tend to achieve by maintaining ethical standards in the distribution of drugs from the manufacturer to the patients and consuming public for the well-being of the average Nigerian and the economy. Thus, this action intends to enhance access to safe, quality, and effective affordable medicines to the population and safeguarding the public. Our association tends to develop digital business networks to achieve greater visibility, efficiencies, and agility in the pharmaceutical supply chain, with emerging positive impact on reducing faking and distribution of unwholesome medicines in Nigeria. The growth of sale and distribution sector and the pharmaceutical supply chain is hampered by poor infrastructure, as evidenced in power, water, transportation, and unsteady foreign exchange rates. However, in some instances, funds for infrastructure upgrades, working capital required are limited, and when available, they come with high interest rates and short repayment periods. And demanding for unending collaterals. Trade incentives routed through PWDAN by pharmaceutical manufacturers will go a long way to promote affordable channel access to genuine drugs by the consuming public. As a good start to our existence and relevance in the supply chain arena, we have developed a code of conduct among our membership for adoption in their facilities and practices to benchmark the best practices in drug distribution. We are currently partnering with NAFDAC and the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria to achieve WHO qualification in global good pharmaceutical distribution practice. We intend to organize annually workshops and seminars to promote global best practices in the pharmaceutical supply chain. Digitization is a vital tool in supply chain estimate and analytics. Our membership are deploying information technology in their daily operations, thereby assisting in data collection, collation, overall analytics, giving a bespoke approach to our operations. On the 26th May 2021, exactly a week today, the association will be formally inaugurated at an history-making event at Sheraton Lagos Hotel, Ikeja, Lagos, with Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, retired, the former military governor of Lagos, Lagos State, and current chairman of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDA, as chairman of the event. The theme for the event is supply chain in contemporary health services, the disruption, and profiling pharmacists Claire Omashe, FESN, a technocrat, former chairman of Healthcare Federation of Nigeria, as the keynote address speaker. Other topics lying for the plenary are effective drug distribution, a systematic restorative concern to be delivered by pharmacist Joseph Odion Ije, the head of Pharma Logistics of NPS Logistics Limited, a member of Imperial Logistics Group. The second topic, value chain in pharmaceutical wholesale distribution, to be handled by Professor Simon Emeje, a public speaker, former senior assistant postmaster in charge of logistics department of NIPOST, and the current chairman of Korea Logistics Management Institute. It's an accredited degree awarding institution in supply chain management. The one-day program is expected to have in attendance top government functionaries, regulatory agencies, captains of the pharmaceutical industries, international affiliates, stakeholders in the healthcare team, professional bodies, supply chain, value chain, service providers, and the public. The event will afford the association to take stock of achieved milestone and chart a course in achieving the perceived goals in maintaining our tagline, ensuring pharmaceutical supply chain integrity, and assisting the regulatory agencies meet the WHO standards in good pharmaceutical distribution practice, thereby contributing in national healthcare development and general well-being of the populace. Gentlemen of the press, we appreciate you for coming to this press briefing and for listening, and do hope this address will receive wide publication in the media houses you represent. Thank you. I know I have the backing of my people that have supported me over time, but to give you answers to such questions.
When you start, you made mention of the challenges that we faced in drug distribution. I mean, the trend distribution of drugs. You made mention of challenges. What new thing is the association bringing in, or the body that will help in this area?
Okay. Okay. Yes, we say that we've been in the system. What are we bringing to the table? We discover that over time, we'll be playing lip service over drug distribution. In my address, I told you that the government seems to lack the willpower. The laws are there, and the problem is enforcement. We know what is right, but somewhere along the line, ability to enforce those laws intentional, either decrease or edicts, so problem. We as a body, we be players, we are pharmacists, and what we have decided to do, having seen what is done in other times, decided to raise the bar by improving on our infrastructure. Where you are sitting today is a facility by a member, which you cannot get in other places where drugs are being disposed. That is the narrative we want to change. Okay? We talked about global best practices. We talked about pre-qualification and the guidelines laid down by the WHO. Okay? We talked about infrastructure build-up. These products, the drugs, are manufactured in certain conditions. The expiration dates on those drugs have a condition for it to elicit this action. Those conditions must be met. The ambience of storage is key. So that's where logistics is part of what is needed. We have chosen one of the topics to discuss about the value chain in distribution. Logistics part of it. Financing. Because if you don't finance well, that's why you have a lot of mushroom distributors who cannot meet up. I will say that we play by mediocrity. Since we don't have the money, let us make use of what we have. It becomes a challenge. We cannot meet up to global standards. Continually meeting. We have built capacity over time. Why not we change? As far as institutions are concerned.
May I also chip in something, please? One of the challenges we have in Nigeria as a whole is the fact that everybody expects the other person to lead change. And you do not do the same thing the same way and expect a different result. The idea of work passing has always become a national culture. If they change, if the Senate does this, if the House of Rep does that, if politicians to have on the fairness. PWDAN is setting the pace in the sense that we want the change to start with us. And that is why from the onset of this association, we have set up a committee that sees to setting up standard operating procedure that will be in line with global best practices. And we are, in that sense, kind of self-regulating even before any agency comes to regulate us. So when someone is a member of this association, there's a minimum standard that is expected of the person in respect of all the parameters mentioned by the chairman, in respect of financing, structure, distribution channel, and all that. So we are starting the change with us, not with the market people, not with other non-professional distributors. We want to clean our house first. We want to set this. My name is Becky Abdulaziz. I'm the chairman of the Standard Operating Association.
Okay, hi. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Okay, now I wanted to ask, but before asking my questions, I want a clarification of this. The PWDAN is it an interest group under PSN? Just like we have campaign and rest.
Like the other arm, like the other arm of PSN.
Or is it an arm of PSN?
Can I answer this? In PSN, you have technical groups and interest groups. Okay. Under the technical group, you have the Nigerian Association of General Community Pharmacists.
Yes.
Okay. You have the Nigerian Association of Hospital Pharmacists.
Yes.
You have that of the academia and industrial. So you have 4 technical groups. And then again, you have the interest group, which is the Association of Lady Pharmacists of Nigeria. So those are the groups in pharmacy.
Oh,
And the young pharmacists groups were widely changed. Those are the groups in that PSN.
okay, so what do we?
But then, as development comes and is still going, we're beginning to identify that there is need for us to evolve and bring out more culture, more sensitivity, more integrity into the profession. That is why we now have people like groups like API, as Association of Pharmaceutical Importers of Nigeria, who want to like bring out themselves and do what is right. So we belong to the Association of Community Practice, ACPN. And so in that community practice recognizes those we call retailers. They are the community pharmacy. Those days they were called retail pharmacy. But today it's been clarified that it's not just retail. They are not selling tomatoes. They're selling a professional item. And so it is community, the community they are serving where they are located. So that was why that change came for that group years ago to look broad spectrum into exactly what they do and reach out. And so also in this Association of Community Pharmacy, you have the community pharmacy, you have the wholesalers. The wholesalers again serve the locality by serving those little units of the community pharmacy in the locality. So we are still under that group for now. And it is also recognized in the structure of licensure of pharmacists by PCN, because they license the industrial, they license the community, they license the hospital, they give license to those in the academia. So that is the licensure structure. So you have the wholesale distribution, for which a group of us also have a specific thing, different from the community pharmacy. But in terms of technical positioning, we just looked at the PSN has had that structure for quite a long time.
Thank you. What is something, sir?
Yes, to bridge what she said, giving the background information about who we are as practitioners. Okay, we're all members of community. We are in community practice, so members of the CBN, community practices. Now, marrying it with what you are like wanted to ask concerning them. Okay. Asking whether we are interested. We are not an interest of PSN. Okay. We are a trade. We have a trade just like these two bodies are not affiliated to PSN. People doing things together, coming together to talk about things of common interest. Now, zeroing in on what she talked about concerning PC, what we talk concerning NDG. The PCN, there is staggered rates according to your practice. The industry manufacturers have them. That's why you have PNG, because the Manufacturer Association of Nigeria, they capped another one. Okay? Manufacturer Association, pharmaceutical manufacturers in man, they have their own group. Okay? Because they are producing a specialized product. They have importers. That's why they have AP. They have their own retention fee. These are the people that occupy the upper level of the supply chain, indigenous supply chain. Then at the middle is where we come in, wholesalers and distributors. We pay another level, we pay another retention fee. Okay? Then you now go down the level to meet the retailers that pay another level of fee. So if you go by PCN, as you said, yes, this group of people are like-minded because they are, PCN recognizes them as a group. Okay? Under the NDG diagram, we occupy a position. And in that position, we are trying to firm up, standardize, and have our thoughts in policy making. Does that explain?
Yeah, perfect. So my question actually is this: there is this opinion that open drug markets and the lack of full implementation of the national drug regulation guideline has been responsible for that's been actually responsible for fake drugs actually, and I don't know how to do perfect word to use. But the question I want to ask, yes, prohibition of fake drugs. So the question I want to ask is that what is your group going to do to ensure that the national drug regulation guideline is fully implemented? That's number one.
What about
Then the secondly, what is your opinion about the existence of open drug markets, despite the fact that government has given the guidelines? It's like in 2018 that no drug market will exist beyond 2018.
Okay. It's not in our power to implement laws. At the same time, you and I know that you don't like what's happening in the system. Just like we as a group don't like what's happening in the system. But if you look at the sky, that's why we have taken the good and the bad. It is not somebody will tell you that your dress is dirty. Okay? You are the person that will assess it and say, let me clean up. That is what we have done as professionals. It's a smell on our face. We don't like what is happening over time. We go out, we go for international conferences and see what is happening there. When they want to contribute, you already know what is happening. So most of the analytics is still you and I that give them information. use it to. That narrative will not change. Have an identity. Pending the time, working independently, while still associating and knowing where we belong. That's why we talk about self. You understand? Let us clean our address. We don't need an outsider to do it for us. Knowing what we are going to gain from it. Do you understand? So that is it.
Just to add to it, in very simple terms, we have decided as a group to bring in professionalism in the practice of wholesale and distribution in Nigeria. Simple. And we want to be the model so that when the government sees what we are doing, when the regulators sees what we are doing, there will be a basis for benchmarking any other form of drug distribution that may want to come up anywhere in the country. Because right now, it's as if there's no standardization. And so practically what this group is all about is professionalism. You know, the word is chaotic drug distribution, right? This group is all about professionalism, structured, restructuring the drug distribution channels. That is what we are all about in simple terms, without complicating the word.
Sorry, I came in with and my question is on the issue. You know, you're saying of changing the narrative in drug distribution, and already all of us know that the cost of drugs already skyrocketed. And now that you're trying to bring in some of these infrastructures and you know, some other incentives to be sure that we have a better drug distribution, how are you going to marry, you know, the cost? Because some of these things are going to come with some, you know, expenses on your own part. So how are you going to marry the cost of some of the products and what you're bringing into? Is it going to, I don't know, how is it going to impact on the cost of products right now?
Is this which one is better? A costly, effective medication or a low cost, non-effective medication? Which one is better? I have in my address talked about extensively on that. There's one, somebody reposted that
Last slogan. It's the taste of a cheap drug.
yeah, exactly. Somebody posted it. It was a pharmacist slogan in those years that the effect of a cheap and adulterated product wears with time. The sweetness wears with time, and now comes the pain later. When I started my this place we are, a lot of people saw the building and shied away from coming to patronize. What was their reason? That what is coming from here will be expensive. But there again, you ask the person, are you getting the product from an ambient, well stored, according to the manufacturer specification? Or not? As scientists, laws, theories was backed up with certain principles. If those are not met, then that theory will not stand. I would say all things being equal. So expiration date of those products are conditional. If all things are, if you stop a problem, otherwise, you might not get. Answering your question, you discover that many a time people think that when you impute money, that you are going to get the increase in the overall price of something. But you discover that it zeroes out a sum total. Like we, as distributors, we don't use high markup, but we look at what the turnover, the volume is what negates your concern. Am I communicating? So that is it. But the major thing is, are you satisfied? Which one do you want? To go to the boutique, the fashion house every month for a dress? Because you buy disposables, or do you want to buy a quality product that will last you?
And just to add to what he said, I need that to understand that even as it is today, pharmaceuticals that are coming out of our facilities are not priced higher than what's coming out of the open drug market, even as it is today. So the provision of infrastructure and providing best practices in the distribution of pharmaceuticals has no bearing to the overall pricing of drugs to the end users. The volume of business takes care of any excess price that should have come up. So providing those infrastructure, providing the quality, providing the ambience, just like Mr. Kafa has said, does not necessarily introduce an extra cost in the end pricing for those pharmaceutical products.
And equally in the area of track and trace, it's one of the things, because we're not running faceless business. Okay? Be able to do the analytics, be able to zero on. You understand?
What you bought,
What you bought, where you bought it,
when you
how
bought it,
The batch.
the batch. And so the last detail.
When there's a recall, easy.
easy. You understand? So
So this also goes to what you asked earlier, what are we bringing?
Yeah.
there was a case of Panadol incident, paracetamol syrup incident in those years. Without proper track and trace, you're not able to. That you cannot get in order on organized basis. I'm talking about value, additional value. I mentioned to you that people cashed into the non-available professionals at those years, and merchandising aspect now
So I want to quickly add this. Looking at the pharmaceutical markets nowadays, especially the wholesale aspects, is being dominated by the charlatans. So how do you intend to handle this?
Okay. You asked the former question in another way, because I will repeat what I said. It is government that regulates. They know what I say. The law is there. They guide everybody. That is implementation. And I, or us, as practitioners, we are going to be regulated. Okay? And because of the code of ethics we have taken.
So, what is your advice to the government?
Are you now rejigging your
Advice to government.
Now, our advice to government is what I'm doing, or what we are doing. You understand? What we are doing is our advice to them. They talked about when they see what we are doing, they will use us as a template And our advice we are giving is partnering and collaborating with the regulatory agency, who are the watchdogs of the government. You understand? But they want to. So when they see what we are doing, probably they didn't know before. That's why they brought the issue of ADDG. If they say, this thing can be done this way, you know, there's a way you can send a message rapidly. Okay? That's what we're doing.
Do it the right way, let them see.
Raise the bar.
It's achievable.
Let it be shown that it is possible.
Because I might not have the privilege or to go to the Senate on the Senate floor to do it. Even if you do it. So
You can do it right in your own.
the same the works of your hand. Declare honesty.
Invariably, say, we're not asking what Nigeria can do for us.
It's what
We are showing what we can do for Nigeria.
That's it.
All right, I have 4 questions to ask. I'm waiting for the right. Sorry, Choma. Sorry, Choma.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, first, I'd like to know what the membership strength of PWDAN is like.
Membership strength of
PWDAN is like. That's one. I'm looking at the anticipated challenges and teaching problems of running this kind of organization, given the fact that it's something different from what we've been having in the pharmaceutical sector. But just one thing out. Then you talk about the track and trace earlier. Can we say this is probably one effective way of curbing or checkmating fake drugs, which we know people going to machine with more some of these open drug markets to buy them. Is this something in the long run that can actually curb the issue of fake drugs? Then, on the other hand, why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult to regulate the prices of drugs in Nigeria? It's not like when you visit, or can we just say we are running you don't have a price regime, there's no price regime, anybody can fix the price in the pharmaceutical sector.
Yes.
Or I guess something we're not doing right, checkmating it, because you can go to some, a place today, they are selling per 1,400, somebody is selling 1,750. And you ask me and say, why that huge gap, but there's somebody can compete. But you can decide where you want to go and buy it. But at the same time, the fear is there that because of that mentality, maybe because why this one is costly? Why? Because that's the original. And the person selling maybe at the normal price, probably not selling a genuine. It tends to affect the size sometimes. And then lastly, which I think is basically the most important, we had a challenge with China last year in terms of pharmaceutical importation that affected us so much that drugs actually skyrocketed. Now we are having a similar scenario with India that has been rampaged seriously by the pandemic. Dead bodies falling here and there. How is it affecting pharma imports and the chain distribution generally in Nigeria?
Okay, I want to get your second question before practice.
I talk about membership strength and certain challenges and maybe teaching problems. And why it's so difficult to regulate prices of drugs.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. PWDAN membership. PWDAN started from Lagos. We have known ourselves for years in practice, and we decided that we should come together and do something. That's a small group. Said no, let's leave the national out. Started involving other police that are doing same. So today we have membership in all the regions, and members of the board of trustees of the association are from 4 regions. Okay, we have to know more of them when you come to events next week. So, and it is open to people who are playing at the center of the energy. So far they are goodness, and they are doing it well. By the time we set out, there's an idea that says that when a child washes his hand, he'll be able to eat with others. Is that not?
Yeah.
So if you do it well in the area of, and you know that look, you as a non-pharmacist might not be the person that's handling most of the operations. Supply chain outside the country are not really for only professionals. But because they already know and keep into the policies of the government, of the system, they were able to fit in. Okay? So we're going to extend more than the membership of the Prof. Like same based on the same trader. Okay? We are having a common language because we already know the background history of each drug, how it's kept, how it's stored, how it's used. You might not know there's nothing this like this. You understand? Having gone to pharmacy school, there are certain products that human cannot touch. It's sitting there that the woman should handle. Because if perchance the powder of it touches the woman, there's an effect. The skin. Want me to tell you the product? Go ahead. So that's it. So it's people like that. That's the first one. Second one, teaching problem. We started this discussion 3 years ago. It's not the first day the woman conceived and you do pregnancy test that you deliver. So our gestation period was 3 years. We're about to go to okay? Definitely. No, don't, I gave you that analogy. You can't ask a woman, the 9 months, is it a pleasant one? But what comes out of it? Good. Track and trace. It is a belief, and it's a known that if you be able to know the source of the product, you're able to talk about it. A bank will tell you, don't referee somebody you don't know. Is that the same thing in track and trace? If you know the source very well, then go ahead. But if you don't know, if there's any problem along the line, you'll be able to track it. In poisoning, as you take biopsy or take sample, you must know the origin of that poison before you analyze. Because what you can use to analyze this, the method of analyzing this is not the same method of analyzing it. So you can't just tell somebody, analyze this sample for me. No, the person must know the origin. That is why track and trace is necessary. You understand? And we are putting measures in place to do that. And these are these checks and balances, the post stops. Taking by that product is necessary. Okay. We have talked about difficulty in price regulation. We are not running a complex system. It was in USSR in those years that we were able to have uniform prices and so because government shares the funding. You understand? Yes, there's fuel regulation. I told you about why defining a theory. When all things are not equal, that theory cannot work. When there's fuel scarcity, are you buying fuel at the same price, the same pump price? There is distorted place. So, in as much as rent is not safe, you don't expect pricing to be safe because it's from that business that person will pay that. Even government recognizes it. In your tax now, the first thing you want to know is to know where you are living, to know how much liability to give to you. You understand? That is it. So we don't expect pricing. But what the driving force is the market forces. Are you getting patronage? There are some people that don't want to wait. So in life, there's fast tracking. That's why, apart from the fact, there's another reason for fast tracking. Drive through is higher than fast tracking. You understand? So there are some people who, even if you give them a very genuine product at a good price, they look at the price as making that product inferior. I don't understand. You understand? So, in as much as we are running a capitalist system, you cannot get more so when government themselves is concerned. Today, how do you source forex? How do you source? How do important source products forex these days? It's ranging from the correct 420 that we know, or 410 to 502, 509. No amount, and you have obligation to fulfill your suppliers. For practitioners, because that's going to come to the next one. As practitioners, you see a patient you cannot help because of scarcity of products. There are some people who say, it's very expensive. Who is talking about price now? Give me the product. I want to save life. You understand? And with the chaotic distribution, you cannot have the same pricing technique. With a lot of players in the system is chaotic. And in chaotic situation, anything goes. There are a lot of players in the middle what's the name? Middlemen paying. But the reason is manufacturers get this thing direct to the distributors. Distributors get it down to people who will now advise and counsel on this goods, not straight to the patient. You understand? Who doesn't know? These are the major stages. The world you see, there's a bus stop before manufacturer and the wholesaler. Sometimes the manufacturer will even jump the wholesaler to get to the distributor, to the retailer, and so on and so forth. Because the laws are slack. That's why we're talking about the word integrity. When we're talking about supply chain integrity, I know if you come to my facility, I don't say retail. Do you understand? I call it mark your wage. If you do that, then we will do. Now look at other indices to talk about price. But as far as we are in a capitalist system, you can use. But we get there. The banks are not there. It's not a regulated system. Is it not the same amount they charge you a certain operation across banks because there's a bankers committee? This is what we are set to do. You understand? Because we are operating on the same level, our overhead will be near the same. So that my markup will be near it and so on. But how can you now operate at ask the question? How can you operate at the same price with the same person that doesn't have any overhead.
It's not selling the same
Products as input, they might be selling the same product, but not under the same conditions. Oh, yes, because the industry still feeds them. Do you understand? The same industry still feeds them, but they have not built same level. You talk about challenge with import. You cannot give out what you don't have. You are saying India is having their noodles. They started the same time China, India even replied to Nigeria before. Because during that period, if I ask you, you are not pharmacists, you discover that the cheapest product, if I ask you concerning drugs, is paracetamol. Is that not? That's the first thing, even a kid will know. Paracetamol. Did you know that during COVID, in the first lockdown in April, India sent a letter banning export of paracetamol powder out of. We don't produce paracetamol powder. We don't. That is called API. We don't. Because as practitioners, we plan setting up a petrochemical industry. I graduated 38 years ago. As we were talking about chaotic drugs distribution at that time, we are still talking about petrochemical industry. 38 years down the line. Nothing happened. And they gave us that, put it no export. But they say the caveat, in order to help you, they can export already produced paracetamol to you. But the powder, no. So India sent that flag, initially before China. Right now, if you call India for certain as people that are doing business, they don't answer you because they're not operating. They're not operating right. Okay? So the source, once you meet the source of water, that channel dries up. We are the feeder end, not the source. Okay? So whatever happened, in the war power, you say that when America sneezes, Africa will catch cold. Is that not? The same thing is playing out. The same thing is playing out. I'm not the prophet of doom, but war is coming.
In terms of what?
No, in terms of drug scarcity. One is that we have more of Indian representation in the product portfolio we're carrying in the country than China. Okay? So you discover that the effect of China that started at that time will be lesser than what we're going to face later or we're facing. Because not having the proper statistics, give it or take, about 60% of products being circulated in the country are from India. You understand? As we have this association, Indian manufacturer and importer have their own association to show you the mass. So whatever affects that region will definitely affect Nigeria. Not to talk of the scarcity of APIs. And I think instead of giving incentives for manufacturers, what government should use to put, they're asking me what advice I should give to the government. Let them put those resources together to build the chemical industry. Just like asking the power, because I mentioned in my concerning power. Let government address power and leave the rest to contracts. Once you settle that out, every other thing. That is the nature. In my small facility, I know how much I spent on testing daily basis. But that does not mean that I'm not paying the bill for the electricity. It has not reduced, rather it's increasing. Because they have both the yam and the knife. They are cutting it anyhow. So they are raising the tariff anyhow. You understand? What you use in vending for 1 month before, you now use the amount to vend for 2 weeks. And so on and so forth. So if they can fix petrochemical and fix lights, there are a lot of things lights can do, even for the use, that they can self-employ themselves. Okay, I think that's all.
I was maybe I should be a follow up that. Now that you also raised the red flag, and in terms of still looking at this challenge you're having in India and the fear of drug scarcity. I know paracetamol it's usually affected in this case and some of these other essentials. Probably we might be looking at those with oncological issues and other, I guess some major drugs. We are bound to have challenges with this regard.
Can I just chip in? You know, just like my chairman has said, all of these things are coming in from India. Doesn't matter whether it is paracetamol or whether it is oncology drugs. Drugs, the generic word there is drugs coming in from India and China are becoming scarce as a result of the pandemic happening in India. And so it is naturally going to trickle down. But our responsibility here is more of when the drugs becomes available in Nigeria, our responsibility is to make sure that it gets to the nooks and crannies of Nigeria in the same way and manner it has been manufactured. So it's difficult for us to give you specific answers. I don't want us to divert away from what we are here for. We are not here, we cannot solve Nigerian problem. So let's not focus more on the problem of Nigeria. There is a problem there. But whenever that problem is solved and the drugs are available, our group, Pharmaceutical Waste and Distributors Association of Nigeria, we make sure that the drug gets to everybody. Can we say that?
Okay, I would have that to as per Madam Down.
Yeah, I don't want us to lose sight of it.
That's not this. So let me, is it complete?
Yes. So on behalf of the Pharmaceutical Distributors and Wholesalers Association of Nigeria, also known as PWDAN, I want to sincerely say thank you to everyone that has made this media coverage and engagement a success. I want to thank representative of the Punch newspaper, representative of the News Agency of Nigeria, the representative of the Guardian newspaper, the representative of the Vanguard newspaper, the representative of Daily Trust, and most importantly, our own representative from the farmer news outlets, because it's a farmer event, so they are our primary constituency. So we want to say thank you all for making this event a success that I believe it is. I also want to use a way to thank our members who joined us via the internet, via Zoom, and have been a part of this program. We are very grateful for the audience and for the engagement we've had so far. Like we mentioned, this is actually the beginning of the series of programs we have that is going to take us to the inauguration program itself in a week's time. Next week, Wednesday, to be precise, on the 26th of May. And this is the first of the program, and you can see that the very first thing we have done is to engage the press, to show the relevance and the importance of the press in what we are doing. And we trust that we will continue this engagement further on Wednesday, the 26th of May, when we meet again for the inauguration program. So once again, we thank you for the time we spent, and we look forward to the program on Wednesday. Thank you and God bless.